Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Zakirullah, your course instructor for the subject Exploratory Writing. In the previous lecture, we discussed the different pre-writing techniques in which we discussed uh, brainstorming, free writing, uh, mind mapping or clustering, listing, questioning, and outlining. Today's lecture is about drafting, which is a three-stage process. So this is the outline for today's lecture, in which we will discuss introduction to drafting, the stage 1, that is called the preliminary draft or the first draft, stage 2, which is called the second draft or revising draft, and stage 3, which is called the final draft or editing and proofreading draft. And then we will discuss the recursive nature of drafting and the importance of the three-stage drafting process. And finally, I will conclude the whole discussion. Okay, so as you know that we have these three stages of drafting. The first draft, that is also called exploratory draft. The second draft, that is revising draft. And the final draft, that is called editing and publishing or proofreading draft. So drafting is actually a core stage of writing process. If you remember, in the previous lecture, we discussed the different pre-writing techniques, the brainstorming and mind mapping and listing and so on and so forth. So actually, in drafting stage, we generate ideas from those pre-writing techniques, from those pre-writing ideas, okay, into a written text. Like once we have something in the form of a listing or something in the form of outlining, okay, so if we have points, if we have brainstormed the ideas first, so we can write our first draft. And drafting allows writers to explore ideas, organize arguments, and progressively improve clarity and coherence. So let's move to the first slide. Okay, so the purpose of the first draft is to generate and record ideas, to develop the main message, to write without fear of mistakes, and to focus on fluency. Yes, so the primary purpose of this draft is to explore ideas, to generate ideas, okay? It's not about perfection, as you see that the writer writes here without fear of mistakes. And the writer here focuses on getting ideas onto paper without worrying excessively about grammar or style or other writing techniques. Okay, so this is the first draft. You can also call it the rough draft. Okay. For example, if you want to write on the advantages of online learning, so you can write rough sentences. Okay, here repetitions are acceptable, and also like if the ideas are not coherent, okay, the ideas are random, so still like it is acceptable in the first draft. So in this stage, the writer actually emphasizes fluency over accuracy, okay? Here fluency is emphasized, not accuracy. In the first draft, the ideas may be loosely organized, or the paragraphs may be underdeveloped, or also like the sentences may be repetitive or unclear. Okay, there can be some grammatical mistakes or spelling mistakes. So these things are like normal in the first draft. And here the writer focuses on what do I want to say, also what is my main argument or purpose of my writing. Okay, so this is the first draft of writing stage. Okay, then comes the second draft. Okay, and the purpose of the second draft is to improve organization and logic. Secondly, to clarify the thesis. Thirdly, to strengthen paragraphs. And finally, to remove irrelevant ideas. Okay, so the second draft focuses on revision. Okay, it involves rethinking and reshaping the content that you have already done in the first stage, the first draft, okay, rather than correcting surface level errors. So revision actually operates at the level of ideas, organization, and coherence, okay. And for example, there can be some missing information which you can add later on, okay, or you can delete some irrelevant ideas or repetitive content, okay. You can also rearrange the paragraphs in this draft, okay, for better coherence. Also, like you can strengthen your thesis or your topic sentence, okay, or even the whole paragraph. And you can also skip or omit or remove irrelevant ideas. For example, you can add a clear topic sentence if there is no topic sentence in the paragraph, okay, if the ideas are not logically ordered, so you can make it coherent. And you can also remove the repetitive words or repetitive sentences. So this is the second draft of your writing. If you want to write any piece of writing, so first you should ask yourself, like the first question should be, is my main idea clear and consistent or not? Okay. Also, you should ask yourself, does each paragraph support the topic sentence or not? Okay, the transition elements that you are using are effective or not? Is the content appropriate for the target audience or not? Okay, so in this draft, you have to ask these questions from yourself. Okay, and you should also keep this in mind that revision is not proofreading, okay, which inshallah we will discuss in the next lecture. Revision is not proofreading. It addresses what is being said, not how it is written, okay. So in the next lecture, inshallah, we will discuss it in detail about proofreading stage. And then we have the final draft of the writing. And the purpose of the final draft is to ensure grammatical accuracy, to polish style and tone, to check formatting and presentation, and to prepare our draft for submission. Yes, so the final draft aims at linguistic or grammatical accuracy. Okay. Also, it uh, aims at your stylistic refinement. Okay. It polishes your style and also your presentation. How do you present ideas on a paper? Okay, so this stage actually prepares you to submit or to publish your writing, okay, because this is the final draft of your writing. For example, in this stage you can correct your grammar and punctuation marks if the your tone is not formal, so you can make it formal. Okay, here in the final draft, you should have a formal academic tone, and also the wording should be concise and precise. Okay, so in this stage, like you can correct your grammar, you can correct your spellings, you can correct your punctuation marks, you can improve your sentence structure and word choice. Okay, you can also like eliminate repetitions or any ambiguity. You can check consistency in your verb tense, okay, your voice, your style, And also, like if you want to uh, give references from somewhere, so you can also verify your references in this stage, in the final draft of your writing. Now here you can see a practical example of the first draft, the second draft, and the final draft. Okay, so you can read it on your own. Okay, here like the ideas are rough. Okay, there can be spelling mistakes, there can be like grammatical mistakes. Okay, it may lack consistency, it may lack coherence. Okay, but in the second draft you can see like it is the revised version of the first paragraph of the first draft. Okay, and in the final draft it is improved. The paragraph is improved, the grammatical and spelling mistakes are eliminated. Okay, also there is coherence. Okay, you can see the transitional elements. Okay, proper punctuation marks, and all the things that are needed for writing an effective paragraph. Okay, so you can read all these three paragraphs on your own: the first draft, the second draft, and the final draft. Okay, then comes the recursive nature of drafting. So drafting is always recursive. Okay, it is not linear, which means that writers uh, can move back and forth. Okay, and writers do often move back and forth during the writing stages. Okay, which means that you can edit something, you can add something, you can delete something, you can omit something. Okay, so it is not linear, it is recursive. Okay, and also like you can generate new ideas anytime. Even in the final draft you can add a new idea. That's why we say that writing is especially drafting is recursive and not linear. To simply put it, we can say that writing is a flexible process. Okay, for example, if you have not generated any idea in the first draft, or you have not revised anything in the second draft, so in the final draft you can do it. You can add a new idea, you can explain a new idea. Okay, you can explain something new. Okay, so this means that writing is a flexible process. Okay, okay. The next slide is about why the three-stage process matters, or you can say the importance of the three-stage uh, drafting process. Okay, so first of all, it reduces fear of writing. Okay, some students like they are anxious about writing. Okay, they think that if they write something about something, so they will commit mistakes. Okay, so drafting actually reduces the fear of writing. Okay, also it improves clarity and coherence. Okay, maybe in the first draft your writing may not be clear, it may not be coherent, it may not be well organized, it may not be well structured, but in the second and third draft you can revise and you can make it perfect. Okay, also it encourages critical thinking. Okay, it activates your background knowledge, it activates your critical thinking. Okay, and it builds academic writing skills. Okay, so like yes, academic writing skill means your professional writing competence. Okay, also it improves your accuracy, it improves your clarity. Okay, uh, it reduces the anxiety, okay, that you have about writing anything. So in conclusion, we can say that drafting is a three-stage process. Okay, the first draft, the second draft, and the third draft. Okay, which is central to effective writing. Okay, each like it improves. Writing improves through drafting. Each draft has a clear purpose, a clear role. Okay, from idea generation to the refinement and polishing of the ideas. And if you master the drafting techniques, so it will enable you to produce well-organized, coherent, and audience-appropriate text. Okay, so also like you can say that understanding and applying all these three processes will transform your writing from a one-time activity into a systematic and purposeful writing. Okay, and it is obvious that practice leads to strong writing. The more you practice writing, the more you will be effective writers. So this was all about the drafting stage of writing, in which we discussed first draft, second draft, and third draft. If you have any questions in your mind, so you can put it in the comment section. Thank you so much.